Imagine like holding a lighter to an $18 bill.
Okay.
You just watch it burn, right? And then you do it again and again, hundreds of times a week.
That's painful to even think about.
Right. But that is exactly what's happening every single time a business phone rings and, just goes to voicemail.
Yeah, it really is.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some sources that reveal this, honestly, staggering reality. The global business world is currently losing $1.2 trillion annually. Just missed calls.
Wow.
Yeah, trillion with a T.
It's just a massive invisible leak in the global economy. And, the reason that $18 figure you mentioned is so crucial to understand.
That's alarming, though.
Exactly. It's because that represents the average unit cost of a single unanswered call in lost revenue. But, the financial loss is really just a symptom of a much larger behavioral shift.
How so?
Well, it's about how we all operate as consumers today.
Oh, for sure. Think about the last time you, the listener, called a plumber or like a clinic or something. If it went to voicemail, did you actually leave your name and number and just wait by the phone for them to call back?
Definitely not.
No. The sources show 68% of customers won't call back after a missed call. They just, hang up, click the next search result on their phone, and hand their money to your competitor.
Because a modern consumer operates entirely within a convenience economy.
Yeah.
The tolerance for friction is, well, it's practically zero. If an organization can't provide an immediate, frictionless response, the consumer doesn't forgive them, they just abandon them.
The baseline expectation is just instant gratification now.
Exactly.
Which brings us to the core mission of today's deep dive. We're exploring how forward-thinking businesses are completely eliminating this massive $1.2 trillion loss.
And doing it without burning out their teams.
Right. The fascinating part is they aren't doing it by forcing their human staff into, unsustainable overtime. And they aren't farming out their customer service to these massive overseas call centers either.
No, they're not.
They're using a strategy and really a new category of worker known in the industry as the digital employee.
Yeah, and to define what the sources actually mean by a digital employee, we kind of have to separate it from those clunky automated voice systems of the past.
Oh, please do, because those are the worst.
Right. A digital employee is an AI-powered voice agent, sure, but its primary function is fundamentally different from, a traditional answering service.
Okay.
It's actually designed to handle highly complex customer calls, dynamically dispatch jobs, and manage multi-layered inquiries totally without human intervention.
So from an operational standpoint, the appeal is obvious. It's like cloning your absolute best, most knowledgeable employee, 1,000 times over.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. So they can handle every single customer perfectly, simultaneously. It never calls in sick. It doesn't take holidays.
Yeah, it provides flawless 24/7 coverage without racking up this massive overtime bill.
Exactly.
But we have to look past just the labor savings here. The true value is really on the customer experience side. You're basically taking the ceiling off your operational capacity while guaranteeing that every single customer gets an immediate, perfectly composed response.
Right. Whether it's 2 in the afternoon on a Tuesday or 3 in the morning on a Sunday.
Exactly.
I do want to push back on that a little bit, though.
Sure, go ahead.
Because when you say automated AI voice agent, my brain immediately goes to those awful robotic phone systems.
Oh, the phone trees.
Yes, where you end up just screaming representative into the receiver because the machine doesn't understand a word you're saying.
We've all been there.
So how is this actually different for the person dialing the phone?
Right.
If I'm a stressed out customer, how does this digital employee greet me compared to that old way of doing things?
Well, that frustration you're describing is totally universal with traditional IVR systems, interactive voice response. Those legacy systems are fundamentally broken because they operate on rigid, inflexible logic. They force you, the caller, to basically diagnose your own problem.
Oh, yeah. Press 1 for sales, press 2 for support.
Exactly. They force you to fit into their predefined boxes.
And if your specific problem is a mix of both, or you just don't fit neatly into box 1 or 2, you're trapped in this purgatory of menus.
It's awful. And the data reflects exactly how much customers hate that purgatory. Statistically, 65% of customers hang up on traditional IVR systems out of pure frustration.
Wow, 65%.
Yeah. That abandonment rate is catastrophic for a business. You're actively putting a barrier between your company and your buyer. But the digital employee, by contrast, completely eliminates the phone menu.
Wait, Completely eliminates it.
Completely.
So there's no press 1 for this, press 2 for that at all.
None. Zero. The business value here comes from removing all that navigational friction. So instead of a menu, the customer just hears a natural conversational greeting.
Just like, how can I help you today?
Exactly. Simply, how can I help you today? The digital employee doesn't rely on buttons. It comprehends the caller's intent instantly, just through natural dialogue.
Okay, let's unpack this, because one of the biggest friction points in those old menus is language routing.
Oh, absolutely.
What happens if a caller dials the number and immediately starts speaking in another language? Does the agent prompt them to press a number for Spanish or French first?
This is where the customer experience just drastically improves. There is no para español oprima el número dos. The digital employee automatically detects the customer's language from the very first spoken words.
Wait, really? Just instantly?
Instantly. If a caller immediately asks a question in French, the agent instantly answers in French. If they start speaking in Tagalog, it responds in Tagalog.
So it isn't guessing based on the phone number's country code or, making the caller self-identify. It just adapts in real time.
Correct. It replaces that rigid logic with instantaneous adaptation. By removing the requirement for the customer to jump through hoops just to be understood, the business immediately establishes this baseline of respect.
That is incredibly smooth. But let me throw a curveball at this.
All right.
Because the sources brought up a scenario that happens all the time in the real world. And it seems like a huge blind spot for traditional systems.
What's that?
Well, human conversations aren't always strictly siloed into one language. People mix them up all the time.
Oh, sure.
Like my neighbors speak a blend of English and Spanish in almost every single sentence. If someone is blending languages, wouldn't an automated system just get hopelessly confused?
What you're highlighting there is a linguistic reality known as code switching.
Code switching, right.
And it is incredibly common, especially in diverse markets. A caller might start a sentence in English, switch to Spanish for a technical term they feel more comfortable with,
And then finish the thought back in English.
Yeah.
Something like, I need to check el estado de mi pedido before I can authorize the payment. That kind of flow.
Yes, and legacy systems completely shatter when they encounter code switching because they're locked onto a single rigid language track.
Right. They just break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
encountering an unexpected language mid-sentence causes them to either produce these garbled interpretations, route the call to an error state, or they just disconnect the caller.
Which is the worst possible outcome.
Exactly. The digital employee, however, seamlessly follows the code switching mid-sentence without losing a single beat. And more importantly, without dropping the context of the customer's overall issue.
So it just rolls with the conversation exactly like a truly fluent bilingual human would.
Yep.
It doesn't force the customer to translate their own thoughts just to make the machine's job easier.
No, it doesn't. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the financial implications of this capability are just enormous.
I can imagine.
If we look at the U.S. Hispanic population alone, it's grown to over 62 million people. That demographic represents roughly $2.5 trillion in buying power.
2.5 trillion. That is a market segment you absolutely cannot afford to alienate with a clunky, frustrating phone system.
You really can't. And consumer research consistently demonstrates that Hispanic consumers exhibit incredibly high brand loyalty when they receive exceptional personalized service.
Makes sense.
So providing first-rate, frictionless customer service in Spanish, or a perfectly understood code-switched mix of English and Spanish, it allows a business to tap directly into an enormous growth opportunity.
And historically, if a business wanted to capture that market, the operational cost was massive. You'd have to hire an entirely separate, siloed team of bilingual reps.
Which means double the recruiting costs.
Double the management oversight, double the software seats, and crazy complicated routing systems just to get the right caller to the right desk.
Which is exactly why many businesses simply didn't do it. They just left that revenue on the table. But the digital employee provides all of that linguistic reach immediately, without the overhead of scaling human headcount for every new language demographic.
You're basically offering hyper-localized service on a global scale.
Exactly.
Okay, speaking the customer's language perfectly and adapting to it instantly is a massive leap forward. But I have to play devil's advocate again here.
Go for it.
A polite bilingual voice is essentially useless if it doesn't actually know who I am or how to solve my problem.
Right.
Like if I call my bank and the agent speaks perfect English but has no idea what my account balance is or why my card was declined, it's still a terrible customer experience.
That is the critical second half of the equation. Understanding the language is really just the delivery mechanism. The actual value is in the context.
Yeah.
This is where the digital employee truly differentiates itself from just being a fancy answering service. It is deeply and fully integrated directly into a company's customer relationship management system, their CRM.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me. Because when I read the sources on how this integration actually functions, it completely changed my understanding of what an automated interaction could feel like.
Really? How did you conceptualize it before?
Well, normally, even with a great human agent, there's a delay, right?
Yeah.
You call, you verify your identity, and then you hear them typing furiously in the background saying, hold on just a moment while I pull up your file.
It's a dreaded dead air.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the digital employee doesn't do that. It actually pulls the customer's data before the first ring even finishes.
The operational speed is instantaneous. The system uses the incoming caller ID to query the CRM while the connection is still being established.
Wow.
So by the time the digital employee answers the call, it already possesses the full context of the customer's history.
It's like having this invisible, lightning-fast administrative assistant sitting right next to the agent, grabbing the client's physical file cabinet, opening it to the exact right page, and just sliding it onto the desk before the agent even picks up the receiver.
That is exactly the dynamic. And the practical application of this is that the digital employee can greet the caller proactively.
Right.
It doesn't just say, how can I help you? It can say, hello, are you calling about the open support ticket you submitted yesterday regarding your internet router?
Or like, I see your latest supply order shipped this morning. Are you calling to get the tracking number?
Exactly.
That completely flips the script on the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of the customer having to prove who they are and re-explain their entire problem from scratch, the business is already anticipating their needs.
It makes the customer feel incredibly valued and understood.
Definitely.
And the efficiency gains of that deep CRM integration don't stop when the call disconnects. Think about the hidden costs of a traditional call center. What does a human agent have to do the moment they finish a call with a customer?
Oh, they go into what the industry calls after-call work. They spend like 5 minutes furiously typing up notes, updating custom fields in Salesforce, sending an email to the warehouse to confirm a change, or manually scheduling a follow-up task.
And that manual data entry is incredibly time-consuming. It's a massive bottleneck for call volume, and honestly, it's highly prone to human error.
Yeah, a tired agent might forget to check a box or log a crucial detail.
Exactly. The digital employee completely eliminates manual data entry from the workflow.
So it does all the post-call wrap-up itself.
Instantly. Post-call, it automatically logs the comprehensive notes of the conversation, updates the necessary custom fields in the CRM, and can even trigger complex follow-up workflows.
Wow.
If the customer requested a consultation, the digital employee books the appointment directly onto the company's live calendar.
And it isn't just telling the customer, okay, you're booked. It's literally executing the back-end administrative tasks, creating the calendar event, and firing off the confirmation email to the client all simultaneously.
This level of automated administration is profound. The sources show that by utilizing this technology, businesses are cutting their average call handling time by 40%.
40%.
Yeah.
That is nearly half the time wiped out, just by removing the friction of data entry.
When you remove the manual lookup at the beginning of the interaction and you eliminate the manual data entry at the end, you drastically lower your operational costs.
Absolutely.
But simultaneously, you're providing a significantly faster, more accurate service to the consumer. It's a rare scenario where reducing costs actually elevates the quality of the product.
Let's zoom out a bit and look at the whole picture we're painting here.
Okay.
When you combine all of these elements, the instant 24/7 answers with zero hold time, the automatic language detection that fluidly adapts mid-sentence, and the deep, instantaneous CRM knowledge, you aren't just tweaking your operational budget, you are completely transforming how the public perceives your brand.
You really are. And the sources point to a very specific marketing framework to explain why this transformation is so vital in today's competitive landscape.
Yes. I was hoping we'd get to this. It's the concept of the purple cow, right? Can you break down how that applies here?
Yeah, the purple cow is a concept popularized by the marketing expert Seth Godin.
Right.
The premise is straightforward but powerful. Imagine you're driving down a highway past miles and miles of fields filled with ordinary brown cows.
Okay.
After a few minutes, they all blur together. You stop noticing them. They're perfectly fine cows, but they're boring. They are invisible.
Yeah.
But then you spot a bright purple cow standing in the field.
It demands your attention. You can't ignore it. You'd probably pull over, take a picture, and immediately text your friends about it.
Exactly. By definition, it is remarkable, meaning it's worthy of making a remark about.
I love that.
In the year 2026, playing it safe with standard, mediocre customer service is essentially choosing to be a brown cow. It's the riskiest move a business can make.
Because every single one of your competitors has the same frustrating phone tree. Every competitor puts people on hold for 20 minutes.
Right.
If you're doing exactly what they're doing, you are completely invisible to the consumer.
You're just another brown cow.
But if you implement a digital employee and suddenly a customer calls and gets an instant, deeply personalized, multilingual resolution in 90 seconds, you become the purple cow.
That is exactly the market dynamic we're observing. The early adopters of the digital employee are becoming the purple cows of their respective industries.
Yeah.
They're completely disrupting customer expectations by creating what the industry calls unified AI call flows.
Okay, let's break that term down for you and me. What does a unified AI call flow actually look like in practice, and why does it make a business stand out so much?
A unified AI call flow means the customer experiences absolute zero friction from the exact moment they dial the number to the moment their problem is completely resolved. The digital employee handles the initial triage, the immediate language detection, the intent classification, and the back-end CRM resolution. It's a closed, perfect loop.
But what if a customer's problem is genuinely too complex for the AI? Like, what if it's a highly sensitive escalation that really requires a human touch? Doesn't the flow break down there?
This is the most critical part of the unified flow. If a call ever does need to be handed off to a human expert, the human agent receives the full context of the entire conversation the exact moment the call connects.
Oh, so the customer never has to do that incredibly infuriating thing where they say, listen, I just spent 15 minutes explaining my entire life story to your robot, and now I have to explain it all over again to you.
Never. That repetition is a hallmark of the broken traditional system.
It's the worst.
In a unified AI call flow, the transition is seamless. The human agent instantly sees the CRM record on their screen alongside the summarized notes from the digital employee's interaction, the emotional sentiment of the caller, and their verified language preference.
Wow.
The human steps into the conversation fully informed, ready to execute high-level problem-solving immediately. It completely removes those traditional frustrating boundaries between digital self-service and human-assisted service.
And customers absolutely notice that lack of friction. It feels entirely different from the brown cow experiences they're used to.
They notice it, and more importantly, they reward it financially. The data within our sources shows that 86% of buyers will actually pay more for a great customer experience.
86%.
Yes. By completely removing friction, businesses aren't just saving money on back-end administrative tasks. They are actively building deep trust and fierce brand loyalty.
Yeah.
They're driving top-line revenue because customers will fiercely protect their relationship with a brand that respects their time.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? Let's bring this deep dive to its logical, actionable conclusion.
Sounds good.
The reality of the modern business environment is that traditional IVRs, frustrating phone menus, and an endless cycle of missed calls are not just minor operational hiccups. They aren't just annoying.
No, they're not.
They're a direct existential threat to your customer satisfaction and your bottom line.
Those legacy systems are relics of a bygone era, an era when businesses held all the leverage and could just afford to dictate the terms of communication to the consumer.
Yeah.
That era is definitively over. The modern standard, the baseline expectation, is frictionless, intelligent, conversational service.
Exactly. And if you're a business leader listening to this deep dive right now, and you recognize that you need this competitive advantage.
Which you do.
Right. If you want to stop bleeding revenue to the tune of $18 a missed call, and you're ready to start operating like a purple cow in your market, you need to take immediate action.
Yep.
You need to contact GrowthRight Solutions at GrowthRight. Solutions to get your own customized digital employee.
The implementation of this strategy is much faster and more streamlined than most legacy-minded leaders realize. And the return on investment in both operational savings and captured revenue is essentially immediate.
GrowthRight Solutions. That is your strategic next step to plug the leak and transform your customer experience.
Highly recommend it.
Now, before we wrap up today's deep dive into the sources, I want to leave things on a slightly different, thought-provoking note. We spent a lot of time unpacking exactly what the digital employee can do and how it handles the heavy lifting of customer interactions.
We have.
But solving that problem really begs a fascinating question about the human element of a business.
It really does. Because when you remove the friction, you also remove a massive amount of the daily labor.
Right.
And this is the final thought I'd leave you with today to mull over on your own.
Let's hear it.
If a digital employee can now flawlessly handle the instantaneous language switching, the tedious manual data entry, and the frictionless routing of everyday customer service, what uniquely creative high-level skills should you be empowering your human staff to focus on now that they're finally free from all the robotic work?